Hi everybody. I figured since we were studying the aquarium right now that I would try and give you guys a tour of our aquarium. Right now you can see the fish are pretty active. They want to get fed. So I'm going to give them a little food here. Now I just gave them some mysis shrimp. And they all like eating it, including the shrimp that are back there. So we can take a good look. The fish come out. You can see one of the fire shrimp there. They go around. Pretty much everything in the aquarium eats these things. Some of the fish are a little more shy than others. We also have, there's a sea urchin. It's called a tuxedo urchin. Some of the fish are a little bit more excited about getting the food. Again, I apologize for the algae on the glass. I still haven't had time to get around to cleaning that. You can even see the anemone is sucking in some of those mysis shrimp. It's starting to fold up a little bit. And then there's other fish around here. Oh, there's Atlas. He is a starry blenny. Kind of hard. He hides back there. He blends in really well. Maybe I can get him to move. There. Alright, so what is going on with the aquarium? Well, this is the main display tank. Above the display tank, we have these fancy lights. I have more expensive lighting here. These have both blue and white lights for growing algae, which both the live rock, the anemone, and this soft coral need better lighting in order to do their photosynthesis, because they have algae that live inside of them. Alright, so I think, let's see. Oh, and then here's another interesting fish. This is called a diamond goby. He is a sand sifting goby. A lot of times you'll see him picking up sand with his mouth. Right now he's interested in eating, but he sifts sand through his gills. And that's an attempt to find more food. So that's a feeding strategy for the diamond goby. Alright, so down below the aquarium we have what's known as the sump. And in the sump we essentially have something that holds a bunch of water, and there's a water pump right here that once the water gets into the sump, it gets pumped back up into the aquarium. And you can see up here on the aquarium there's more water that comes out. It returns right there. It's kind of hard to see the water rushing in because it doesn't really go in all that fast, but that's how the water gets back into the aquarium. Right here, this little white thing is a float switch to keep the water level in this sump about the same. Alright, we want to keep it at the same level, otherwise the chemistry in the aquarium tends to change. If the water evaporates and the level in here goes down, that means that the salt level, salt concentration goes up, as well as the dissolved organic, the waste products, their concentration goes up, and that could affect how the fish react. Alright, right here we have what's known as a protein skimmer. So this is a little, basically it's a holding tank for all of the proteins that get skimmed off in bubbles. So this is another word for this, is called a bubble fractionator, and it will create bubbles that the dissolved organic material, the nitrites and nitrates, will stick to, and then they get pulled into this overflow, and I eventually will have to clean that out. But that's what this is all doing. And then right next to it is my refugium. So inside the refugium, I am growing this stuff called macroalgae. And here's what the macroalgae looks like. And it's just a green stringy algae, but it sucks out nitrates out of the water. So all of that is the water from the aquarium comes down here into this holding tank where the plants can feed on the nitrates, and then it overflows here down into the main sump. So this is the water going into the main sump. It goes through this filtration before it goes back up into the aquarium. And then over on the far side over here, I have yet another filter. This is called a canister filter, and this has a whole bunch of layers of different filtering material inside there to help grow the bacteria and get rid of the nitrites and the ammonia. And some of the stuff that's in there are these things called bio pinballs, and these bio pinballs have lots of little pins on them that increases the surface area for bacteria to grow. You can see this is one that had bacteria growing on it. I've actually replaced this one with something else. But that's what all this brown stuff would be, bacteria growing on there. So there's a bunch of those things in there. There's also a bunch of filter material like this that filters out solid particulate in the aquarium. And then over at the far side, remember that float switch that I had to maintain the water level? Here is the container that has the fresh water in here. So this is all just fresh water that's been filtered, and a water pump that pumps the water back in there, but that water pump is hooked up to that float switch down there. So that float switch, whenever, if the water level in this aquarium starts to evaporate and gets low, or I should say in the sump, and it gets low, it turns the switch on for that water pump over here, and it pumps water back into this container so that the concentration levels of everything stay the same. All right, so that's about it. Here's a look at the aquarium again and everything that we have in there. And you can actually see at the top I had a student assistant that took pictures of all of the fish that are in there. There's a mandarin dragonet that we haven't seen yet. There's the starry blenny, that's Atlas. She named them all, by the way. And then this is pretty much all of the fish that are in there. Oh, and there's the mandarin dragonet right there. And he's got lots of psychedelic colors. He's kind of a really cool fish. Alright, so that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed the tour and enjoyed seeing some of the fish that are in the aquarium.